Oh, is the microphone not plugged in? Oh, no wonder. There we go. Yeah, we're good now. Alright. Very good. Sweet. Whoa. Oh, it's all the way up. Let's change that. There. Is that better? Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that's way better. Alright, good. Alright. What's up? Welcome. This is going to be a different thing that I'm doing today. I want to talk about one of my favorite hobbies. And before I do anything, I want to go ahead and post some links about what I'm going to be talking about. As we hear Final Fantasy I's awesome intro music. Go with that. And this. I'm going to be talking about blackjack today, one of my favorite hobbies, a hobby that I want to make money from. And I'm going to be talking about just certain stuff that I'm learning and certain stuff that I'm trying to pick up, among other things, that hopefully people listening to this can also take advantage of as well. So here we go. Alright. I'm actually going to do a speedrun. The speedrun setup of 2 warriors, 2 red mages. I may as well. And what I'm also going to do, I'm going to put down just examples of hands in blackjack that are very hotly debated. So let's put first the soft 18. That one gets debated quite a bit. That's when you have an ace and a 7. The pair of 9s, that also gets debated quite a bit. I can probably do this. That doesn't look right. Whatever. Hey, you know what? There. Pair of 9s. The hard 16, which many blackjack players will what I call the dead man's hand. Or not even, yeah, that'll work. Okay. And let's see, what else? And let's see, what's another hand in blackjack that's very, very hotly debated? Which you can see from the picture, that's kind of what you need to play whenever it's a card you get that you can bring to the table, and it'll show you exactly what to do in whatever with whatever hand you have. And let's see, I'm trying to figure out like what's the another hotly debated subject. Let's see. Let's see here. Can't really find anything else. Let's see. There was the soft 18, the pair of 9s, and the hard 16, whatever. And what else? Let's see. Can I put? Yeah. 12 against 2. Or 12v2, we'll say. That's another hotly debated hand. So, there we go. Let's begin. Okay. I'm not even gonna like LP this game. I'm like legitimately just gonna talk about blackjack the whole time. Okay. So, what you see on that card in the corner, which is extremely big, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it. This way you can see some gameplay too. Perfect. There we go. Good. Alrighty. So, crap. I don't know what. Whatever. Anyways. So that card will tell you exactly what to do with all these hands you get in blackjack. Okay. And in certain situations, for example, if the dealer has an up card of 10, if you have a soft 18, some say you should stay on that, some say you should hit. What I've found is that when you hit the soft 18, it'll turn out a little bit better. That happened to me today, actually, when I was at the casino. At a soft 18, the dealer had an up card. Actually, I'm not even going to talk about the hand yet. I'm going to go ahead and talk about just the very basic strategy of blackjack. That if you follow this strategy, you'll either win a little bit or you'll lose a little bit, and it's really up in the air. And the chances of either one of those happening is about half. So if you go into a casino and you play some blackjack, if you're using the standard 6 decks that they use, most blackjack tables use 6 decks nowadays. They used to have 4 decks, or 2 decks, but not anymore because they found out from this basic strategy that you could win quite a bit if you play by the book with 2 decks. Also, it was very easy for players to start predicting cards and counting them and stuff like that, which a lot of houses didn't like because they were losing money. So a lot of them switched from 2 decks to 4 decks and then to 6 decks. Most of the really big shot casinos now they use 8 decks. So now with 8 decks of cards, it's really, really difficult for anyone to predict what card's going to come next. Plus, the casino will make more money. That notwithstanding, there are a whole bunch of other rules that blackjack has as well. And I want to go over the rules. The Wizard of Odds link in the description will tell you exactly what rules that my house has. The house rules of my blackjack, where I play blackjack, has following. It uses 6 decks. Blackjack pays 3 to 2, so if you get a blackjack, you'll get your money back, plus you'll get half of that. So, for $10, if you win blackjack, you'll get $15. You'll get $10 and then $5 added to that. Some houses have blackjack paying 6 to 5, which really sucks in the long term. Especially if you're not betting flat amounts, which I'm going to talk about later. So, 6 decks, blackjack pays 3 to 2. I can split pairs as many times as I want, up to 4. So if I get like a pair of 8s, then I can split that. If I get another 8, then I can split that 8 as well, and I can do that up to 4 times if I get like 4 8s in a row, which is also a big thing. Some houses you can only split once, any pairs. And if you split aces in my house, then you only get 1 card per ace whenever you split that. In the house I play at, you can double anything, not just 10 or 9 or 11. Some other houses have a rule where you can only double down on 9, 10, or 11. So if I see that if I have a hand of 8 and the dealer has an up card of 5, then you can double that, and I have done it, and I have won money off of it. So Also, there is a option called surrender, where if you feel like your hand just really sucks and the dealer just has a good ace or a face card up, and you want to, and you don't want to go any further, and you want to just take half of your bet and just leave the game, surrender lets you do that. So let's say I'm playing $10 for a game of blackjack, and my hand is a hard 16, which means it's like a 10 and a 6, okay? And the dealer is showing a 10, which 10 through king is 10 in blackjack. So my 16 versus a dealer's 10, the winning percentage of that is really bad. So if I can do it, I'm going to surrender. And the house that I play at doesn't have that option. I need to go to the inn. Ooh, nice crits on these enemies. So those are the rules that I play on. And those rules, if you look at the Wizard of Odds link in my chat, and later in the YouTube description, when this becomes a YouTube video later on, odds will say that for the house edge is roughly 0.5%, meaning you can win or lose if you play perfect basic strategy, if you play by the book perfectly, then you will either win a little bit or you will lose a little bit half the time. So one of every 2 times, one of those 2 things will happen. You'll either walk away with a little bit more than you came in with, or you'll lose a little bit more than you came in with, depending on how long you play. The longer you play, the more the house wins because of this house edge. Okay, so with that being said, let's go into very basic blackjack strategy. And what I'm going to be doing is eventually I'm going to be making an actual vlog video about this, where you actually get to see the hands in play. I just want to this is almost like a practice video for that. So, the first thing you do in blackjack is you do not focus on the cards that you have. You need to focus on the cards that the dealer has. The dealer can only show 1 card before every player makes their move. If they have a 10, most of the time they'll check and see if they have an ace behind it, and if they do, they get blackjack and everyone loses anyways. But that's very rare. If the dealer is showing an ace, they will ask for insurance. What insurance does is if you put money up for it, you're betting that the dealer has blackjack. And if you win, and the dealer does have blackjack, well, you get your money back. It's like a surrender times 2, pretty much. Unless you have a blackjack yourself, and you want to take even money, never take insurance. So let's say your hand is a decent hand with 2 cards. Let's say it's like a 10 or 11, and the dealer has an ace showing, and the dealer asks for insurance. It's very, very, especially when you have 6 decks in the table, and you've already seen like 4 or 5 aces come out of those decks. What are the chances, really, if all things considered, that the dealer has blackjack? Not that much. It's not going to be that much at all. So, what you do instead is you say no. Unless you have a blackjack yourself, you always just say no to insurance. No matter what. It could be, you could have like your last bet on the table, and the last of your money, doesn't matter. Just say no to insurance. That's the very first thing. So we're going to go dealer card from the ace down. Okay? So if the dealer is showing an ace, they ask for insurance. If you do not have a blackjack yourself, say no. If you have a blackjack yourself, you can either let the blackjack ride and risk just breaking even on the dealer's blackjack, or you can take even money. And there's a few occasions where I've done that, where I said, oh, I'll just take the even money, because I just have a sneaking suspicion that the dealer would have blackjack. And guess what? In more than a few cases, I've actually come away on top doing that. So the even money thing is up to you. Taking regular insurance, however, never ever do it. This leaves us with the dealer showing an up card of 10, okay? Which I would treat the ace as. Because ace can either count as 1 or 11. So, and that's where that's what the soft hand is. Okay? But let's just treat the ace like an up card of 10 right now. So 10 through king. There's a little mnemonic I've used over the last month or so of me playing blackjack daily, full time. And that is, if the dealer has 10, you need at least 17. Or if the dealer has 7 to 10, then you need at least 17. If the dealer has less than 7, you're good under 17. Okay? So 7 to 10, get to 17. Under 7, you don't need 17. It's a very general rule, okay? And like you see in my last party member, 12 versus 2, that's a different story. But we're going to get to that later on. We're going to get to that, we're going to go down the line here as I get the shit. Okay, so dealer has 7 to 10 up, and you have what's called a soft 18. That's where you have ace, and that's where you have 7. 18. Okay, I'm gonna be. I don't know if it's controversial or not, because I have seen videos and watched. I have watched videos and seen literature talking about this as well. But 18 is not a real strong hand in blackjack when the dealer's up card is 10. Okay? Or 9 even. 8, you could probably stay on the soft 18, or the pair of 9s. But if the dealer's up card is 9 or above, then you want to hit the soft 18. Because the chances are good you're going to get a 10, which will then give you a hard 18, because ace and 7 is either 7 or 17, or is either 8 or 18, my bad. So if you hit the soft 18, and then you get a jack, well, now you have a hard 18. Then you can stay. But what if you hit the soft 18, and then you get a 2? Well, now you have a hard 20. Holy shit. What if you hit that soft 18 and you get a 3? Well, now you have 21. You're either and you're at most going to break even, or at worst you're going to break even. Awesome. It's to your benefit to hit the soft 18. And another reason why you want to hit the soft 18 is want to take cards. Whenever a dealer has a really strong card up, like 7 through 10, you want to take cards from the dealer. If you do, then that means the dealer has a very good chance, or not a good chance, but a slightly better chance of breaking when they get their cards, when all the players are done taking, or when all the players are done taking their cards. So that's why I hit the soft 18. I've done that in the past. I used to not do it. I used to hold the soft 18. I don't do it anymore. Now when I see that ace and 7, and the dealer has a card of either 9 or 10 or ace, I hit it. And then, okay, let's say you get soft 18, then you get a 5. Alright, well now that's 8 plus 3. Now it's 13. Alright, well now I have to deal with it. Now you have to hit until you get 17. You'll probably bust. Whatever. If you bust against the dealer 9 or 10, big whoop. Because who cares? I mean, 12 through 16 is such a bad hand against a dealer's up card of 7 or above that it's almost a guaranteed loss for you, pretty much. Alright? And allow me to retract also by actually, let's explore the options you have in blackjack that you're just given, okay? You can either You can either hit stay, which that's what everyone's really familiar with, or double, or split, or surrender. Right? And what I've been reading on Blackjack Apprenticeship, which is the first link I have posted in the chat and in the description, is when you get a hand and you have the dealer's hand and you're seeing both of those in front of you, as I get $600 from Kazoku, that's pretty amazing. You have to cycle through all the commands, okay? So you should ask yourself all these questions. You should ask yourself these questions and it's like a yes or no kind of deal. So let's say that dealer has an up card of 10. You have a hand of 16, which is the worst ever. 16 against 10 is like a guaranteed loss in blackjack, pretty much. You are not going to win 16 against 10, no matter what. No matter what anyone says to you, don't believe them if you say, "Oh, I've stayed on 16 and it's what." They're using their suspicions or their card counting like hardcore. When you have a 16 against 10, hit it. But you should be asking yourself when you get that 16 against 10, you should ask yourself, okay, can I surrender? Does the house allow surrender? If the answer to that is yes, then surrender your 16 against the dealer 10. But if you can't surrender, then you go, okay, can I split? So let's say I have a pair of 8s against the dealer 10. You want to split 8s. No matter what you have, no matter what the dealer has, you always want to split 8s. Because 8 and 8 is 16. 16 is the dead man's hand in blackjack. You don't want ace. You don't want 8s. You don't want a pair of 8s. If you hit the pair of 8s, you'll very likely bust. If you stay the pair of 8s, then you're just dumb if you do that. There's no other way to put it. There's no comfortable way to put that. Yo, Fred.
I was just listening to you teach.
Yeah. Alright, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah, oh, you're good. Alright. So 1, can you surrender? 2, can you split? So if you have those pair of 8s, split them. Every time. If you have a pair of aces, split those, no matter what, every time. Third option is, can I double? So let's say you have a pair of 5s, okay? And the dealer we're going to go with the dealer having a up card of 10, because that's really the most common situation you'll find in blackjack. So the dealer has an up card of 10, and you have 10 yourself. 2 5s. Or 4 and 6, or 3 and 7, or whatever. Can you or should you double? If the dealer has 10, may not want to double that 10 that you have, that 2 5s that you have. If you have 6 and 5 and you have 11, but the dealer also has 10, the card that you're seeing on the top right will tell you to double on 11 every time. However, the dealer's up card is 10, you double 11, and then you get like a 3. Well, now you have a 14 against the dealer's up card of 10. Like, you've just dicked yourself out of whatever you're putting down for your original bet. We're going to go with $10. So that's $20 down the drain if you double your 11 against the dealer's 10. And then once you cycle through surrender, split, double, then you go, okay, should I hit or should I stay? And never forget that mnemonic. Dealer has above 7, get to 17. Dealer doesn't have 7, stay under 17. Perfect way I can summarize that. Alright. So now we're going to cycle through the dealer's up card. If the dealer has an up card of 9, treat it just like a face card. Treat it just like a face card or anything above, or anything 10 and above. If the dealer has a 9, you're going to have to assume that they're going to turn the card over that they're not showing. It's going to be a face card and they have a hard 19. So that means if you have anything under 17, get your total to above 17 to 17 or above. There are exceptions to that, but they're very rare. And I'm going to talk about these exceptions later on. The deal is 9, and you have a double hand, 10 or 11. If you've won a lot of money and you're ahead on your bankroll, that's a term I'm going to be using later on when I actually talk about gambling in general in a different video. So if you have a lot of money in reserve and you've won a lot of money and you think you can, and you've seen like a lot of high cards coming out for the other players and you think you're going to get one yourself, maybe you can double 9 or 10 or 11 against the dealer 9. I don't, but some other players do. That's a matter of preference. That's a gray area, pretty much. So if the dealer has 9, and you have anything less than 17, hit until you get 17. If you have anything over 17, if you have a hard 17, 10 and a 7, then stay your hard 17 and hope for the best. When the dealer has a 9 or a 10, and you have 16, the card is going to tell you to surrender, and that's a good idea. I actually, if my house had a surrender option, I'd probably surrender anything within the 12 to 16 range against a dealer 9 or 10. Or 14 to 16 I would probably surrender. But that's just a personal preference. Okay? A lot of the things you see on the card, some of them are hard and fast rules, like splitting aces and 8s, hitting until you get to 17. What else? Doubling on 11 against the dealer if they have like 5 or 6. Stuff like that. But a lot of them are up in the air. Okay? So now let's go to the dealer card of 8. Meaning you should expect for... Oh, crap. Really? Did I just get poisoned? So now let's say... Alright, now let's say the dealer's card is 8. Now you have to expect that the dealer has a hard 18. Okay? So if you have under 17, with 2 cards, it gets to 17. Nah. And if you have less than 10, of course, if you have less than 11 or less than 10, obviously hit until you get to whatever you need to get. That kind of stuff. Doubling against 8 is something that I've done in the past, and you can win off of your double if you double. I wouldn't double 10 against 8. I would definitely double 11 against 8 though, because then you get 11 against 8, and then let's say you get let's say you get 6. Okay, well that's a hard 17, and if the dealer doesn't have a hard 18, they have to draw until they get 17 anyways. So, or until they get at least 17. So, if you have 11, dealer has an up card of 8, double it. It's good. Do it. Maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose, who knows. It's about half, usually. If the dealer's up card of 7, I treat it like an 8. Now, if the dealer has an up card of 7, and I have 10, and I have a total of 10, that's when I double. I will double on 10 if the dealer has anything under 7. If the dealer has anything under 8, I double on 11. If the dealer has anything under 6, excluding 2, we're going to go to 2 last because that's the most complicated card that the dealer could possibly have on the up card. If the dealer has 3 to 6, I double on 9 to 11. Sometimes 8, but always 9 to 11. if the dealer has 6. Okay? But if the dealer has 7, you want to hit till you get 17 with 2 cards. If you have 3 cards and you have anything above 14, then it becomes a personal preference. Then you can either stay and see what happens, or you can keep hitting until you get your 17 and above. That's personal preference, and that's no matter if that doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if what card the dealer has. So if the dealer has a card of 10, and you have like 9, and then let's say you hit and you get a 7. All right, now you have 16 with 3 cards. Half the time I've hit that, half the time I've stayed. But if you really want to be a winning player, you need to do things consistently. So that's something I need to work on. So yeah. But what I'm really leaning towards is staying 16 if I have 3 cards. Anything 14 to 16, or anything above 14 rather. Okay. So now with cards 7 through 10 out of the way, now I want to go in the strategy here. Okay. Soft 18. Against anything ever, hit the soft 18. We just discussed that, whatever. 9s, a pair of 9s, okay? Let me tell you about a pair of 9s. You think a pair of 9s is good against anything, okay? And there's debate on this. Some people say, oh, if you have a pair of 9s, it's 18. 18's is a solid hand, especially if the dealer has a high up card like 7 through 10, and you can stay in the hard 18 with a pair of 9s. I do not. Here's the thing about splitting. Splitting gives you 2 hands, right? So if you split 9s, each of those hands one of those hands will yield a hard 19, probably, in all probability, because you get a lot of face cards in a deck of blackjack. Let's be honest. Okay? So, and this happened to me earlier today. The dealer had an ace. It checked the blackjack. They didn't have blackjack. I got a pair of 9s. I split the 9s, and people were giving me weird looks. One of them yielded a 19. The other one yielded a 15. Guess what happened? The 19 won, and I broke even. Split the 9s. In fact, I would go as far as to say, always split 9s. The 9s is 18. If the dealer is showing 10, isn't good. It's not going to beat the 10 in most cases. The dealer will have a hard 20, and then you're sunk. But if you can split those 9s, one of them gets you an ace, now you have a soft 20. So now you can probably beat that dealer's up card. And the other one will lose because you'll get like a 12 or something like that, and then you'll have to hit that until you bust or something else. But that's notwithstanding, because you're going to win and you're going to lose in blackjack. It's just how it is. I really wish I could run from these Sahag. Okay, so pair of 9s. Unless I'm really low and the dealer has a really crappy card, I'm going to go through the crap cards in a little bit. So unless I'm really low, or if the dealer just has a crappy card, then I'll split the pair of 9s. And splitting these pairs is actually quite rare too. In my session this morning, I played for like 45 minutes, and I played almost an entire shoe. Yeah, I barely got anything. I barely got anything splittable. I splitted a pair of aces, and I splitted a pair of 9s, and that was it. So don't go too crazy about, oh my god, when should I split this? How should I split that? it doesn't matter. If you get the pair, you'll know what to do with it. Or you can ask the dealer, and the dealer has to refer to the book because the book is just like a proven thing that a machine did. They had a machine play like millions of hands of blackjack, and that's how they came up with the strategy card. So yeah, so nines, I'm more or less always split. If I have the money, I'll split them all. Tens, you never want to split because 2 tens is a hard 20. Hard 20 is very difficult to beat in blackjack, and your winning percent is disturbingly good, even against a crappy card. So don't split tens. Sevens are tricky if you have a pair of sevens in blackjack. Because 2 sevens yields a 14, hard 14. Hard 14 won't survive against dealers up card of 7 and above. It just won't. In all probability, that's not going to happen. But then what happens when you split the sevens? Alright, so you get one low card, which is what you want. If you split anything other than aces, you want a low card. Low card meaning anything under 4. Or an ace, too. Like if you split an 8, then you get an ace, and then you have a soft 19. You know, you could double that if the dealer has a really crappy card, and all of a sudden you've made like 4 times your original bet. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But I've never really seen anyone double on a soft 19 either, so. Anyways. So let's go to the crappy cards. The rule of thumb for the dealer's dangerous cards, 7 through 10, is just get your hand to set. Just get your hand, whatever you have, get it to 17. Whatever you have, just get it to 17. If the dealer has anything above 7. That's like the most basic rule of thumb, when the dealer has anything above 17. Okay? And if you have a soft 18, hit it. You have a soft 18, hit it, get some cards out. This way, if the dealer has a low card under their face card, then they'll probably bust way easier. Because you get the soft 18, get a low card, and then all of a sudden, that was the dealer's card that they needed to get 21. Okay, so let's talk now about the dealer's crappy cards, okay? 3 through 6 are the cards where you want to take the most risks on. Okay? Oh, there's a great mnemonic right there. 3 to 6, take the risks. 7 or above, get to 17. 3 to 6, take your risks. Okay? If you have a hard 9 against a dealer's 6, double it. I don't care what anyone tells you. I don't care if you get weird looks from the dealer and everyone else. Okay? If you have a hard 9 against a dealer's 6, double it. If you have a hard 8 against a dealer's 6, double that. 7 you can double, it's your funeral. I wouldn't. I've done it exactly once and won, but that's a risky move either way. So the strategies, let's go through the split strategies against dealer 3 to 6. Dealer 3 to 6, treat them all the same way. Because if the dealer has 3 to 6, they have a very high likelihood of busting with 3 cards. Okay? Because don't forget, the dealer has to take cards until they get 17 or above. So, the dealer has 6, then their card is going to be a face. After the 6, it can be 16. Oh, now they're teetering, and then they get that 6, or 7, or 8, or 9, or 8, or 10. Not ace, because then that would give them a soft 17, which they then have to hit. At least in my house, the one I play at. So, and the same thing goes for 3, 4, 5. Okay? So dealer 3 through 6, treat them all the same. Do the exact same commands no matter what. So let's go through pairs because those are the most complicated. Pair of tens or pair of aces always split no matter what. Pair of tens against the dealer 3 to 6 do not split no matter what anyone tells you. Oh, but they have a bad chance of winning. But you have a hard 20. Okay? If the dealer has an up card of 3 to 6, they can make 18, 19, 17, and even 20 a little bit under half the time. Okay? So that's still risky. So I would leave a pair of 10s alone against a dealer 3 to 6. But that's your prerogative too. Okay? Just for fun I did it, and I won one of the hands. The dealer had hard 17. One of them, I got I split like a pair of jacks, and I got a 4, which I stayed, and then I got an 8, which I stayed. And then the dealer got hard 17, and I won my 8. I won with my 18. Which I would have won anyways, because I would have had my hard 20. My hard 20 would have beat their 17, so who cares? That's why I never split 10s. It just makes things really, really dumb. Unless you're counting cards, which no one of like 100 people who play blackjack, maybe like 2 know how to count cards. So, like when people say, "Oh, what about card counters?" I'm just learning how to count cards, and it is not easy. So yeah. Okay. So 9s against the crappy cards, which is 3 to 6. I split them because you get 2 decent hands out of it, or you get 2 hands that may win. Also, 18 is not as strong as everyone thinks. So if the dealer gets a hard 19, well, then I just beat it with my split 9s. 8s always split. If you get a pair of 7s against crappy cards, that's a preference. I think the book says don't do. I think the book says do it, but I'm not really sure. I'm looking at the book. I'm looking at the strategy guide right now, and I don't really see much at all about it. Pair of 6s. That's tricky as well, because then you have 2 6s, right? If you split those. I've never really encountered that, so I don't know, really. But I don't think it would really do that well, because then you split 2 6s, and then what would happen? You get 2 face cards, and you have 2 dead man's hands against a dealer 3 to 6. That's great, but I mean, dealer 3 to 6, they can hit to get hard 17, then they just beat 2 of your hands. So, why would you do that? Okay, 5s. You should never ever split 5s, no matter what anyone tells you. 2 5s get to 10. 10 is a really good number to hit on. You want to hit the 10, no matter what. 10's really good. Splitting 4s, don't do that either. You have a total of 8. So what are you going to do? Split the 4s and then you get 2 faces, then you get 14. Or even worse, you get low cards after that. And then what are you going to do? You're going to hit the low card. Let's say you split the 4s, right? And then you get like a 2. All right. Then you get 2 after the 4 after splitting the 4s. One of your pairs is a 2 behind it. You have a total of 6. You hit the next card, it's face. Oh, now you have the dead man's hand, 16. Why would you do that? So don't do that. 3 is the same concept, and 2 is the same concept as well. If the dealer has crappy cards, then you can experiment with splitting anything under 5. But I wouldn't even worry about it at all. I really wouldn't. If you have a total under 10, just hit it. Double it if the dealer has a crappy card. That's it. I mean, that's all. Okay, now let's go. Let's go with that last guy right there. 12 versus 2. 12 versus 2 is hotly debated. I've seen strategy cards that tell you to hit against a deal or 2, and I've seen strategy cards that tell you to stay a deal 12 versus a deal or 2. I hit it because the chances of you getting a face card, yes, it is very likely when you have 12. But you can also get 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ace. There's going to be just as many of those as there are face cards, right? If you hit 12 against 2 and then you get a 7, are you really going to be upset with that hard 19 you just made? I wouldn't be. If you hit 12 against 2 and you get a 5, what? Am I going to really be upset with a hard 17 against a dealer's up card of 2? I wouldn't care. No, yeah, if you hit the 12, then you get a 4, oh, now you got dead man's hand. But it's against 2. They're going to have a face card, and then they're going to be able to make, okay, what? And then they make an 18. That's fine. 2 is a very tricky number for the dealer to have. It's not, I wouldn't call it dangerous, but it is tricky. Okay? I want to fight these Sahagins. I want to fight better enemies. So that's my spiel about 12 against 2. 12 against 2 you should hit. I've been hitting it for the last month or so, and more often than not I've won, or more often than not I haven't busted. Okay? Alright. So now let's run the whole thing back. I'll start with each player. Okay. Soft 18, that means I have an ace and a 7. Against a dealer card above 7, hit it. If the dealer has 3 to 6, I would stay on a soft 18. Soft 18 is a strong hand against a dealer's up card of 2 to 6. So that's my spiel about soft 18s. Whoop, wait. Thought that X was the menu button for a second. I think we're gonna actually get weapons now. Yeah. All right. So that's what I would do. That's what I do with soft 18s. Also, with soft 18s, if you want and if you're feeling gutsy, and if you see the dealer have a crappy card, double it. I mean, I've done it, but that's up to you. I mean, bottom line, soft 18 is a very tricky hand to have in blackjack because you can do so much but so little with it at the same time. It's weak against certain dealer up cards and strong against others. I mean, so moral of the story is if you have a soft 18 against the dealer's up card of 7 or better, just hit it. And if they have anything under 7, do whatever you want with it. Hit, stay, double, whatever the hell. And I'll go over all the soft hands in a little bit. I'm pretty much going to go over every hand, what I would do with each hand in blackjack. But the 4 that I have named as my players in Final Fantasy, those are the ones that like trip the most people up. That's why I have them there. Pair of 9s, my gut tells me that I treat it like a pair of 8s. If the dealer has a high card, I will split them. And if the dealer has something weak, and I have a lot of money in reserve, if I can eat whatever losses I get, then I'll split them too. If I'm low on bankroll and I get a pair of nines against the dealer 6 and under, then I will stay. Again, that's up to the player's discretion. I don't agree with some of the basic strategies there. I think it says like to split them if the dealer has a 2 or something like that. I haven't memorized it that far. Especially with the split hands because they're just so rare. But yeah. With the hard 16, if the dealer has an up card of 10, or 7 to 10, get it to 17. I don't care what anyone tells you. If your hard 16 is made up of 3 cards, then like your pair of 9s, it's your prerogative whether you want to hit or stay. I've hit the hard 16 with 3 cards before, and have gotten a nice 3 or 4. But in most other cases, I've also gotten that horrible 6, 7, 8, 9 and face. 16 is I think everyone watching this can agree that 16 is hands down the worst hand you can get in blackjack no matter what. Unless it's a soft 16, then you can just hit the soft 16 and hope for a better card. That should be a no-brainer. Like, no one should even think of that. If you have a soft 16, ace or ace and 5, then just hit it. Hit it and hope. And of course, if the dealer doesn't have anything above 7, then just stay your 16. Even against 2. And 12 against 2, I always hit it no matter what. Some people stay, some people don't. Even if the 12 is made up of 3 cards, I will hit it. And that goes for any 12 that I have. Soft, hard, 2 cards, 3 cards. I don't like having 12 in blackjack. To me, actually, when I play blackjack, a 12 is actually more stressful than a 16. Because, what if I hit it and get a 4? Then, god damn it, now I have a 16. So, that's just my thing. Okay, now let's talk about soft hands. Okay, a soft hand is any hand with an ace in it. Okay, and I'm just going to go down the line. Okay, when you get a soft hand, generally you should treat it like it adds 1 and not 11. Okay, soft hand is an ace is either 1 or 11 in blackjack, right? So if you have an ace 2, that's either 3 or 13, and 4 or 14, and so on and so forth. So, what I do, and this helps me, is that when I have an ace next to whatever card I have, I treat the ace like it's 1 every time, okay? But for the sake of completion, for the sake of me having OCD about this, I want to cycle through every ace pairing there is, okay? If you have 2 aces, split them all the damn time. I don't care what anyone says. Even if they say, oh, no, I don't see a good card coming. It doesn't matter, okay? Because, what's an ace and an ace? A soft 12? 2? What are you going to do with that? What are you going to double it? Double a soft 12, yeah. See if you don't get laughed out of the table. Or laughed off the table. Hit the soft 12. And watch yourself just get laughed right off the damn table. But non-negotiable. Split aces no matter what. Ace and 10, that's blackjack. Everyone wants that. That's why we play the damn game. Ace and 9 is a soft 20. I would always stay on a soft 20. Ace and 8 is a soft 19. I would always stay on a soft 19. 19, everything above 19, or 19 and 20 is a very good hand in blackjack. 19 and 20 have a very good winning rate. I've never really lost off of 19 or 20 in blackjack. Maybe a few times, like one in every 6 hands. Oh yeah, the dealer will somehow like come up with a way to get 21 with like 6 goddamn cards, and that's happened a lot. But I mean, that doesn't happen a lot, but it happens sometimes. But if you have soft 19, if you want, it's your prerogative. You can double the soft 19 against the dealer 3 to 6. But that's if you're feeling gutsy. That's if you're just showing off. That's if you don't care if you win or not, and you're just dicking around. So that's up to you. Soft 18, just like the lead character in my party. Soft 18 is a very controversial hand. Ace and 7. If the dealer has a high card, anything above 8, then I will hit the soft 18. I will stay the soft 18 in all other circumstances. So if the dealer has a up card of 8 or under, I will stay the soft 18. Or hit it if I can predict if I can make not a solid prediction, but some semblance of prediction of what the next card's going to be. For example, if I know the next card's either going to be a face or a very low 3 or 2, then I will hit the soft 18 against the dealer 6. Okay. Soft 17, ace and 6. Soft 17, I hit pretty much with any dealer up card, no matter what, because then you can get a low card and make a good 20 or 19 or even an 18 sometimes. Like let's say you have ace and 6, soft 17, you hit it, you get another ace. Well, now that's a soft 18. Dealer has an up card of 7. Cool. I can deal with that. I don't mind that at all. So soft 17, I hit until I just hit it. I hit it against a card above 7. I'll hit it exactly once, and then whatever I get after is whatever I get after. Like I hit a soft 17, I get a 5. All right, now I have a hard 12. All right, well I can hit the hard 12 again, and then get a 6. Now I have 18. Good shit. And that's all up in the air. It gets very complicated, these soft hands. Soft 16, I don't care what anyone tells you. Hit that shit. Because you can get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you've made a decent hand with your soft 16. You get a face. Now you have a hard 16. And then you're sunk anyways. Or you're going to probably stay alive against the dealer's crappy card, 3 to 6. The same thing with soft 15, 14, 13. Those I hit no matter what it is. I'm pretty sure every blackjack player does that. And if they don't, then wow, then you're a dummy. So yeah. So now, with the basic strategy portion of this podcast of sorts out of the way, allow me to talk about my gambling habits, okay? Because, like I said, I want to make consistent money gambling, okay? To do that, you need one thing above all, and that is self-discipline, okay? Last night, I tried to pretend that I was a blackjack professional, walked into the table with 300. I didn't set a stop loss because I wanted 300 to be my stop loss. Okay, and I'll talk about these terms as I speak here. Okay, so my bankroll was 300. My stop loss was 300. Guess what happened to me? I lost about. No, I'm sorry. I brought in 600. My stop loss was 300. Guess what happened? I lost 300. Because no, I lost more. I'm sorry. I lost 350, and then it stopped when I had 250 or something like that. I don't remember. No, I'm sorry. I brought 500. Yeah, I brought 500, and I got taken down to 150. Lost $350. Holy Christ, right? Well, the reason why that happened was because I wasn't disciplined. Okay. And it's a tricky thing because when you gamble, your sense of curiosity and your sense of possibility are just so lit up. So you see yourself winning. So when you see yourself winning the hard 12 against the door 6 in blackjack, and then you go like, oh, holy shit, I just won, like, I just got away with a hard 12. Oh my god, I think I could do that again. And then your brain thinks that you could do it again, but then you lose your hard 18 to the dealer's, 20 that they pulled 5 cards to get or something like that. Now your brain's like, no, that was a freak occurrence. I can win this back, There's a strategy that was on the spotlight when I was watching blackjack tutorials called the Martingale strategy. Martingale strategy means it's named after some dude whose last name was Martingale, and what he would do was the more he lost, the more he would bet, with hopes that he would win everything that he lost. That is one of the stupidest things to do when you're playing blackjack. Okay. Now I'm not talking about playing other casino games like craps or roulette or poker or stuff like that. I honestly have no real experience with craps or poker. Roulette, I used to do a thing where I would place 2 outside bets and see if one of them won. And I would do that for like 8 hours. And I'd make like $20. Because the house edge in roulette is like stupid. The house edge in blackjack, if you do everything properly and you play everything right, and you can kind of make good predictions about what's coming next or whatever, play perfect basic strategy, that kind of stuff, it's like 0.5%. Okay? The house edge in roulette, 7.58%. Ridiculous. Like, that is so bad. So why would you even play that game? But people do it. They don't win, probably, but people do it. So you have to understand, and that's where the discipline comes in, is when you're ahead a certain amount, you must leave. Like today. Today I played blackjack in the morning, or in the afternoon. I started with 240, and I was up to 315. Okay? I played 2 hands, I lost 2 in a row, and I said, okay, whether I win or lose this next one, if I already lost 2 in a row, I'm going to walk, no matter what I do on this final hand. So I put down 20, because I saw that the cards were looking good in my favor. Even based on my limited card counting skills, I saw a lot of low cards come out. So I said, okay, well, it's probably going to go to high cards now, because the shoe is about to end. The 6-deck shoe, like I said. And so, lo and behold, I got a hard 20. The dealer also had a 10 card up. They checked for blackjack. They didn't get it. I said, okay, well, I'm probably going to win on this hard 19 they probably have or something like that. They had a hard 18. I won my $40. I went from whatever I had to 295 to 315. And then I colored out my chips and left. That is how people win at gambling. They know when to leave. Let me repeat that. I'll repeat that for clarity and just to make sure that I'm being heard here. The way to win when you're a gambler, when you gamble and you want to win, you must contain the discipline to walk out when you feel like you've won enough. And you need to know when you felt like you've won enough. Okay? You can't just hang out in a casino and win forever. I don't know anyone who can do that. Even the guys in the movie 21, the guys at MIT who made they made the card counting team and stuff like that, and they tried to break Vegas or whatever. Even they, before they disbanded, before their little business closed, they lost like $500,000. Okay? You cannot beat the casino. You can't. Not in one fell swoop. You can do it in short bursts, but you can't do it in anything other than a short burst. You just cannot do it. Okay? And again, this is me giving myself kind of affirmations for how to do this, because last night, I betrayed my own principle of self-discipline. And guess what happened? I was out. I'm now $300 out of it now because of it. It happens. Okay. The other thing in gambling on the way I'm gonna plan to win gambling is by being patient. Okay? Usually when I go to a casino, when I go to a blackjack table, and I put down my 10 to 15, I usually lose like 3 in a row before I see my next win. And it sucks, because I'll get like a good 10 against the dealer's 10, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm still in this. Let me get my nice face card, let me get a good ace so I can get 21, or let me get at least a decent 8 or 9, get myself a good hard 18, hard 19. I'll get the good hard 19, hard 18, dealer will flip over their card, all of a sudden, there's a hard 20. Or I'll have like 7 against the dealer 6. Okay, let me hit the 7 once, get my stupid 6, 7, 8, whatever. Have a crappy 15. The 15 is okay against the dealer 6, right? Not in this case. The dealer will get 6. They'll get their face card. Oh, they have 16. They're gonna bust. Oh, then they draw a 4, and then all of a sudden I'm sunk. Happens. Often in the first 5 or 6 games, my winning percentage on the first 5 games of blackjack, if I really charted it, if I was able to, it's probably really bad. Like in my first 5 games of blackjack, maybe you'll win like 1, 2, but then you notice patterns, and then you get into the groove of playing basic strategy blackjack, and then all of a sudden that's when you win like crazy. It's when you think you've lost. So patience, and a high bankroll. I'm going to talk about bankroll in a bit. I got the concept of bankroll from a blackjack apprenticeship. Wizard of Oz doesn't really talk about it, but Blackjack Apprenticeship certainly does. But yeah, so the second P is predictions. Ability to make predictions. Okay? In fact, if you look up Blackjack Apprenticeship and their little card counting how-to guide, which isn't as detailed as it needs to be in order to be a really good professional That's different. You need to learn how to make predictions. Card counting in blackjack is all about predictions. That's why when people say, that's why when you have that dealer up card of 10, that's why the book says you got to hit until you get 17, because you need to predict. You have to assume and you have to make a prediction that that dealer's card underneath that up card of 10 is going to be another 10. And if you can make solid predictions, you're going to be able to play a solid game. And then you can play a solid game, combine that with your self-discipline, being able to walk out of the casino when you're $50 ahead, even as low as $50. With a $200 buy-in, that's a quarter you're buying, by the way. Then you're set. You're set for life. You're good. Or not set for life, but you're set for that moment. And you made $50 in a half hour. Are you really going to complain about that? No, you will not. So, when you're able to make these kind of predictions, it's going to work out very well for you in the end. Nice, almost have enough for a silver blade, for a mithril sword. And the third P in winning at gambling is patterns. Okay? Now I'm going to shift away from blackjack and go to slot machines. Blackjack, that's another reason why card counting is really frowned upon in blackjack. If you mention, oh, I'm using high-low, that kind of stuff, they go, oh, you can't do that, man. That's not good. It's illegal. Don't do that. It's not good. The guys who teach it are scam artists, blah, blah, blah. The guys who teach it actually know what the hell they're doing. I mean, in 21, the guys were from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It don't get much more legit than that, buddy. Because card counting teaches you how to notice patterns. When you can notice a pattern, then you can know when it's going to come up again. You can take whatever risks you need to take. And all of a sudden, you went from being $100 in the hole, and now you're like $300 ahead, or something like that. All because you're able to notice a pattern. I have not been able to do this in blackjack yet. In slot machines, if you can somehow detect on which spin gives you a bonus round or which spin will give you a jackpot, then all of a sudden you've beaten that game. And then you can sit at that slot machine and you can say, okay, within 30 spins I know I'm going to get free spins, which I know is going to pay me $20. So if it just takes me $5 to do that, then I'm good. I have not yet seen a slot machine. There is one slot machine, and I will show footage of it. That you can kind of see it. You can kind of go, oh wow, so that's gonna come up, and then I'm gonna probably hit on that, and then I'm gonna win whatever I put back in, plus like $5, that kind of stuff. Alright. And the fourth and the last P of gambling, of professional gambling, is planning. You need to plan, okay? You can't just stroll into a casino, walk up to the blackjack table with $50 in your hand, put all $50 up, armed with all of this basic strategy and card counting stuff, and play one hand and win, and then walk out. No. There's absolutely no way you can do that. No one, I don't care what anyone says, you literally can't do that. No one can do that. No. You need to plan. This is where I'm going to introduce a whole bunch of terms, none of which I've really come up with myself. I mean, I've definitely got it from a whole bunch of sources. So the first one is, and you can read this in Blackjack Apprenticeship, bankroll. This is how much money you're coming into the casino with. Okay? So, Like, I usually come into the casino whenever I practice blackjack. Every morning, pretty much, I've done it for the last week or so. I've come in with 300. That's my bankroll. Okay? So that's the money you start with. Okay? If you want to make lots of money gambling, you need a very, very high bankroll. Because you need to be patient. And that's what's part of planning. You have to come in. 300 is not nearly enough to win any more than like $50 to $100 per session in blackjack. Okay? What I've done in the last week or so, I've come in with my 300, bet 10 to 15 a hand. 10 to 15 a hand, and I try to survive the shoe. It's like a game I've made. Survive the shoe with either basic strategy, limited card counting, and stuff like that. Okay? Now, if I really wanted to make a lot more, I'd have to have more bankroll. Okay? That's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. That's just how it be. But it's not just enough to just have bankroll. You can't just come in with 300 in your hand and go to your favorite slot machine or go to the blackjack table and go, okay, well, let me make 400 out of this 300 and let's just see what happens. No. To prevent you from going broke, you need something called stop loss. Okay? Stop loss is the amount of money from your bankroll that you're willing to lose. Okay? For me, this is usually half my bankroll. Okay? So I come into the casino with 300, right? That's my bankroll. My stop loss is 150, usually. Sometimes it's 200, sometimes it's 100. I make adjustments depending on how good things are going at the table, or bad. If things are going really bad at the table, and I've lost like 7 hands in a row, and I'm putting in 10 per bet, 10 per hand, then I gotta say to myself, alright, I got 2 more hands. If I don't win, or even if I do, whether I do or don't win, then I'm out. Because 100 is my, or 150 is my stop loss. Can you go under your stop loss? If you can make good predictions and you know that you're gonna get, and you know that you're gonna get above your bankroll, and you're very certain of it, not like 100% certain, because who's 100% certain about everything? Who's 100% certain about anything? Nobody. So if you're very, very certain that you can go from under your stop loss to over your bankroll, then yes, go ahead and get past your stop loss. But for us mere mortals, no. It's not going to be that way, and you're not going to like what's going to happen after. So basic rule of thumb is your stop loss should be roughly half of your bankroll. That's what I would put it as. Half my bankroll. If I hit my stop loss, then I just leave. I leave. I say, okay, alright, now I have to recover this. And now I got, like, whatever X amount of days to do it, whatever. Next paycheck, add that in. Or come into the casino with a different bankroll and a different stop loss, and then add as necessary. For example, when I was, I had to go out of town to evacuate from the hurricane. So I went to this one casino and I pretty much lost my shirt, either playing blackjack or slot machines, whatever. But then I went to this other casino with my mom, and she lent me some money. She lent me like 50 or 100, something like that. So I played with that, and my bankroll was like 160. So my stop loss was like 80, and blackjack was 10 a hand there. And then I pretty much won everything back. Pretty much. I won everything back. I went from 400 to 60 to 400. Happens all the time. So make adjustments on the fly. Now there should be, to coincide with the discipline, there needs to be an amount that you set from your bankroll where whenever you go over it, you're going to leave. And that is what I call the stop gain. Okay? For me, it's usually something I have to feel out, the stop gain. Okay? I can't just set a stop gain of like 100 and then chase that stop gain. Okay? Chasing is something you do not want to chase wins when you're gambling. Don't chase anything. If you chase, you're done. Okay? Whether it's blackjack, slot machines, poker, roulette, craps, baccarat, any of those games. If you chase your winnings, if you want to chase your losses, do not. Do not do it. No. That's what the stop loss is for. Stop loss will prevent you from chasing. Okay? Stop gain will prevent you from chasing. Okay? Stop gain, I measure it in the percentage of a betting unit. Okay? For example, betting unit is how much you're wagering per event. Okay? So, in blackjack anyways. Alright, so how much per game, blackjack? $10. Okay, $10 is my betting unit. Okay, so to hit my stop loss with 300, I have to lose. Stop loss 300. It was 200. Yeah, so I would have to lose 10 straight games of blackjack. 10 times 10 is 100, and that's my stop loss, $100. Right. Stop gain is whenever I've won 6 straight games, okay? Or whenever I've produced 6 wins, pretty much. 6, 7, 8 wins, pretty much. No, I'm sorry, no, it's a percentage of my bankroll, my bad. My stop gain is a quarter to a third, a quarter or a third to half of my bankroll. Okay. So let's say my bankroll is, let's use this morning as an example. My bankroll was 240. My stop loss was half of that, 120. Okay. Half the stop loss, a quarter. My bad. All right, I'm thinking of several things at once. So 240. Okay, so I came in with 240. My stop loss was 120. And I walked out with 315. So 240 minus 120, or 120 is half of 240. And 315 minus 240 is what? 75? I'm guessing? Something like that. I'm checking it right now. 75. Okay, so 75 out of 240. 31%. So a quarter to a third of my bankroll is my stop win, or my stop gain. So if I make a quarter to a third of what I came in with, I leave, no matter what happens. I'll put like a final bet. I'll be like, okay, I'm good. After this, whatever happens, I leave. Alright? That brings me to my next term, which is final wager. Okay, like I said, sometimes you have to feel things out, and sometimes you'll be winning like crazy, and then you lose like 2 hands in a row, 2 good hands in a row. Okay, I'm talking about blackjack here. Slot machines different. Slot machines you have to notice cycles and make predictions a lot more than blackjack. So keep that in mind. So with blackjack, I could win like 6 hands in a row, and then I lose 2 in a row. 2 good ones in a row, by the way. 2 very great, excellent hands of hard 19, and then soft 20. The dealer gets 20 and 21. I go, this is a sign for me to leave here. And that's exactly what happened this afternoon. I said, all right, I lost 2 in a row with decent hands. Whatever happens in this 3rd hand, whether I win or lose, I leave. Because I just have a feeling, I don't know what to call that. I guess you'd call it I don't know, the last hurrah. There you go, that's the last hurrah. So if things are looking up really for you really well and you're still losing, then maybe it's time for a last hurrah bet. Okay? And you're like within, and you've either hit your stop win, or you're approaching your stop loss, or even if you're under your stop loss. In my case, I was approaching my stop gain, and then I was just under it. So I was at like 18% of my stop gain. Or not, no, I'm sorry. I was at like a quarter of my bankroll. Because I had 295 before I walked out with 315. And then I put $20 on the table. Yeah. So 295, let's do more math here. 295 minus 240 is 55. 55 out of 240 is... Yeah, so I was at roughly a quarter. Okay? And then I said, okay, this is my last hurrah game. My cards are looking really good, so let me go ahead and go from 15 to 20 on the bet. And then I won it. I just default won it because I got 2 face cards, a king and a jack. And then the dealer had heart 18. So I said, whoa, okay, heart 18. So I won the 20 against heart 18, and that's my last hurrah. Because I just said, I know when things are looking bad, and things are going to be looking bad for the table and not for the dealer, so... There we go. There we go. So that's how it goes. Okay, cool. So that's bankroll, stop loss, and stop gain. Okay? When I'm playing slot machines, the stop gain is not a percentage of my bankroll, but I'll split my bankroll into mini bankrolls. Okay? There's a slot machine where I put $5 in, and I'll play as many spins as that $5 can afford. I play on the penny ones, so there's one where it costs 40 cents per spin, and for that one I'll put in $5 bills. So I'll put in my $5 bill, and I'll be like, okay, whenever this gets to $10, which is twice of what I put in there, $5, then I will take out the money. But if it runs out, then it runs out, okay? And I do that in $5 increments. So I put in $5. So let's say within like 4 spins of one, I'm up above I'm at like 13 because I hit a I had a good spin. Okay. So now with this 13, I'm gonna try and make it 15. Okay. So then I do a little bit more spins when I see myself approaching that $10 mark. I pay very close attention to that. It'll have like $10.50 or something like that. The slot machines, because I'm able to record them, I'll be able to actually do an actual, in-field tutorial about it. But I have a very weird way of doing it. And then if it runs down to $10, I'll go, okay, I've hit my stop gain on this. I'll pull out my money and then put the next $5 bill in there. See if I can turn that into a $10 bill or a $15 or a $20 bill, and then so on and so forth. And then that's how I manage my money there too, because I've already have $10 in my right pocket. There we go. Okay. Then there's another slot machine that costs 60 cents per spin, and it doesn't have and it has two little gimmicks. The one with 40 cents only has one. One with 40 cents you can get free games. Okay. The one with 60 cents you can either get free games, but if you collect enough of if you get enough certain things on a reel, it'll turn the whole reel wild. On that second one that I just described, that one I put in $20 increments. Because I know that it's going to take a long time for it to actually start paying me out. Usually a good 30 or 40 spins in a row, which I've yet to actually count. But I'm sure that if I did that, I could come up with good predictions for it. That one I'll put it in 20, and then and then 60% of that. So if it gets to above 30, then I take out the money. Or if it's at like 35, then I'll play a few more spins until I try to get to 30. Or until I try to get to 40, and so on and so forth. That kind of thing. That's actually. I went to pet my cat, and then my cat's just ran away. Whatever. And that's the pattern there. And then if you practice good money management, and you don't separate what you've won from what you have, or if you do separate what you've won from what you have, then you can actually make decent money playing slot machines. But you need lots of patience. Blackjack, you can just go onto the table, you can put your $300 in, and then you can be like, okay, well, let me play a whole bunch of hands, and then I've won a whole bunch of hands. That's great. And then you're good. Slot machines does not work that way. An hour on one slot machine is not the same as an hour on another. An hour on a blackjack table is pretty much the same as an hour on another. I don't care what anyone says. If you play good basic strategy, and you're able to somewhat make predictions on what cards you get, everything in blackjack is more or less equal. And it's not the same with slot machines. Slot machines is not the same. One slot machine you can hang out on one slot machine for 2 hours, and for a $20 bill, it'll give you 60. Another slot machine, you could be on that one for 3 hours, and it'll destroy your whole bankroll. So you have to be very observant, and you have to be patient. Because some slot machines, you could be on it for hours at a time. It won't give you anything. And then all of a sudden just paid you back every dime that you put in, and more. So yeah. And with slot machines, I'm going to definitely, I'll definitely record myself playing them. And I'll make like a nice little tutorial out of it. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. This is almost over. I've been online for a while now. And I really just wanted to play this game for sure. Oh, wait, no, it's not that. Nah, I think it's cold too. I'll be fine. So that's just how it goes. And another thing, one final thing before I turn this off, before I stop, is when you gamble and you try to make money, never get too negative. Okay? Never have too many negative emotions. Okay? And the reason why is this doesn't go as much for slot machines as it goes for blackjack. For slot machines, you can be as mad as you want, whatever. I mean, only thing I would suggest not doing it on a slot machine, don't rage. If you are on a slot machine and you like punch it to where you break the screen, or if it just stops working because you punched it, then one, you can get fined. Two, it'll malfunction. When a slot machine malfunctions, it voids out everything you put in it and everything it's going to give you. So don't do that. You can like give it a light love tap, but don't like punch the thing. Okay? With blackjack, you do not want to get emotional at all when you play blackjack. It's okay to kind of celebrate a win. It's okay to kind of grunt if you have like a hard 16. I've done that. Like, I'll get a hard 16, I'll be like, dead man's hand, come on. But then I'll be like, okay, dead man's hand, dealer has 6. I'll be okay. Stay on the 6. Good. Or, I'll be like, 13 against dealer, 10. Damn it. But then I'll be like, okay, just hit the 13 and hope. That's all you can do. Very good. And that's all. The more you look at things objectively when you gamble, the more you're going to win. You're not just going to be like, oh, well, you cannot be emotional when you look at things in gambling. You just can't. What you got to do, a better thing to do is just to look at everything objectively. You say, okay, you go to the slot machine. Here, I can use a slot machine example. I'll be like, okay, well, I've already put X amount of money into this. Do I really want to stick around and see how this pays out? If it pays out, I don't think that would be a good idea. And then, there you go. So, yeah. And that's how I would micromanage that. Micromanaging your emotions is very, very important when it comes to gambling, for sure. Okay. Well, I hope all of you enjoyed this. What I will probably do is I will probably make like a blackjack journal or something, and just keep everyone up to date about it. I will do a blackjack tutorial on basic strategy. I'll pretty much have a whole bunch of hands, and I'll just tell the viewer, you guys, I'll tell all of you exactly how to play each hand with every dealer possibility you could imagine. For example, I have the dealer 2, and they'll be like, okay, what do you do against a soft 13? What do you do if you have a soft 18 against the dealer 2? That kind of stuff. So be on the lookout for that video. That video is going to be coming your way pretty soon. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed this podcast of sorts. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.